Dhritarashtra to Sanjaya. What does it say? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavascheva kima kurvata Sanjaya. So Dhritarashtra is asking Sanjaya, my dear Sanjaya, after my sons and sons of Pandu assembled in the holy place of Kurukshetra, what did they do? So this is a very it's obvious question. No, what do people do when they go to, like when people go to a movie theater, they watch a movie. When they go to a restaurant, they eat. Similarly, they come to the battlefield, they are going to fight. But Dhritarashtra is fearful of a couple of things. One is he's thinking that maybe the place is a pious place, so my sons might change their moods and they might actually go for a compromise or something. And also in the first verse itself, Dhritarashtra is differentiating between Pandavas and Kauravas. Mamaka, Pandavas, Shaiva. So this is the problem with Dhritarashtra. So, and then of course we have seen through few slides. So this was the introduction. And then Sanjaya, what does it say? Informs King Dhritarashtra of Duryodhana's appraisal of the relative fighting strength. So Duryodhana is going to Dronacharya and he is talking about all the army formation of Pandavas and also their strengths. And then he explains about Kaurava strengths like that. And then also he says something to Bhima. Bhima doesn't say anything, but he starts blowing his conch shell. And then that gives Duryodhana happy, joy. And other side, what is that? Panchajanyam Rishikesham Devadattam Dhananjaya. So Krishna and Arjuna, they also took out their conchs and they also blew conchs. And then also Nakula, Sahadeva, like that. And then just by the blow of those, sound of those conchs, the army of the Kauravas' hearts got shattered. And then what does Arjuna do? He requests Krishna to draw his chariot between the two armies to observe the Kurus. And then there Arjuna sees a lot of his relatives, of which everyone is there. So this is the first verse. Dhritarashtra inquires from Sanjaya, what did they do? And then Sanjaya said, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana approaching Dronacharya. That's what he explains. And then Duryodhana pointing out Dronacharya's mistake. What is the mistake Duryodhana points out to Dronacharya? क्या बोलता है उनको? He says, yes. Yeah, he says, look how your disciple Drishtadum arranged all this army, Pandava's army, so nicely. That means indirectly saying, no, you have done a wrong thing. So, and Dronacharya is just observing, hearing. And then fourth verse, Duryodhana describing, no, variants of the opposing army. Also, we have taken all these names. And then also he explains about more warriors. And then, so all these Kashi Raja, Budishwara, all these people. And then also this is when he is starting describing his warriors. And then finally, what does Duryodhana says? He compares that even though Pandavas seems to have arranged nicely and everything, compared to our strength, Pandava's strength is nothing. And then he says, I can't remember the Akshohinis. Wow, wonderful project. Yeah. So it's and then he's giving, so he's a diplomatic, he's a politician. So he's saying, don't worry, we are still powerful, like that. Okay. So what's the next one? And then Duryodhana is appealing to other warriors to support Bhishma. So, and verse number 12, Bhishma blew his conch shell very loudly. So Bhishma, he was expecting Bhishma to say something, but Bhishma, he didn't say anything. He just blew his conch shell, which indicated that he is ready to fight. And then hearing that, Duryodhana was happy. And thereafter, everyone started blowing their conch shells and bugles, bugles. So, and then Lord Krishna's grand entry in Bhagavad Gita. So from verse 14, Krishna's name and entry comes up here. And then Lord Krishna blew Panchajanya, and Arjuna blew Devadatta, and Bhima blew Paundra. Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadatham Dhananjaya, Paundra, and then Nakula Sadeva, Manipushpaka, something else. Names, they are all the names of the fonts. So in Vedic culture, there is a name for everything. You know, rivers have names, mountains have names, trees have names, and similarly, conch shells also have names. So Pancha, here it is there. Sahadeva, Manipushpaka, Nakula, Sugosha, Bhima, Paundra, Yudhishthira, Anantavijaya, and then Arjuna, Devadatta, and of course Krishna, Panchajanya. So these are all the conchs blown by Pandavas and Krishna. Nice. And then what happens? The blowing became uproarious, shattered the hearts of Dhritarashtra. So just like what is that? New Zealand. Anyone from New Zealand? Have you been to New Zealand? No, New Zealand. Yeah. New Zealand, they do something called haka. You know that New Zealand haka. So it's a like a, I mean, they do that in different occasions, but one of the occasions the footy players they adopt is that dance or that haka for before a battle, where they remember all their previous elders, and then so it's a very interesting, funny dance. So dance dekhte hi opposing team they get scared and they want to run away like that. So like that, just by blowing the conch shell, Kauravas army, their hearts got shattered. So, and then of course we talked about this Kapidwaja, who is there on the flag. Hanuman is actually there, ready to fight. So Hanuman is there. So Hanuman would actually add this background music. Already it's all so loud, and Hanuman would actually give some more music. Similarly, during the war, when Arjuna is using any arrows, Hanuman would actually make a big sound. So arrow itself makes some sound, and Hanuman makes more sound. So people will, what is that? So like that. And then also it is said that because of Hanuman, none of the arrows could actually destroy or damage any of the chariot of Arjuna. And then verse 21 and 22, Arjuna requests infallible rod. Infallible. So here, there it's mentioned as Achyuta, the one who never fails. Infallible rod to draw his chariot in the middle of battlefield. Also, Acharya has explained how Lord Krishna is Parthasarathi and Bhaktavatsala. So he is Supreme Lord, but he is listening to his devotee orders. So that's what the greatness of the Lord. Verse 23, Arjuna wants to see who have come to fight, wishing to please Duryodhana. Okay, that's good. Then 24, Lord Krishna draws the chariot in the midst of both armies. So he's done that. And then Lord places the chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. So here one interesting thing happens. I don't know whether now or afterwards. Arjuna actually shoots an arrow at Dronacharya, which actually goes and touches his feet. So, like, because he's a guru, and that's how he's actually paying his order. And Dronacharya also returns an arrow which comes and touches his at the same blessings. So all past tense. And then Arjuna sees all the relatives assembled on both the sides. Okay. And then Arjuna, seeing the relatives, became overwhelmed with compassion. So compassion is the nature of a devotee. So there's nothing wrong. But here, what happens is Arjuna is actually put into illusion, Maya. By which, because compassion for a Kshatriya doesn't look nice. No, they come there to fight, and then he becomes compassionate, and he says, "How can I?" He says in the next verses, Oh, okay, that's yeah. Arjuna's mind was thinking how this battle will finish his family and its traditions. Sees great sinful reactions awaiting him if he kills his family members. Feeling it better to be killed unarmed than to fight, Arjuna, his mind overwhelmed with grief, casts aside his bow and sits down upon his chariot. So this is the third section. So Arjuna's reactions of limbs quivering, mouth drying up after seeing these relatives. So we've gone through this verse. And then Arjuna's further symptoms: whole body trembling, head standing on the end, Gandiva slipping, skin burning. And then here, Arjuna's further symptoms and sees only cause of misfortune. So what are all those? We will actually again go through the slides. So, and then he tells Krishna that Arjuna cannot enjoy kingdom at the cost of killing his relatives. So there he starts getting Vairagya. He says, why should I fight? Why should I kill all my relatives? Like that he was saying. So let us read from verse number 32, which is Arjuna not ready to fight even in exchange for 3 worlds. Okay, 32. So 32 to 35. So Arjuna is saying, Kim no rajena govinda, kim bhoge jivitena va, yesha marte kangshitam no, rajam bhoga sukha tai me avastita yuddhe pranamas प्राणांश्चक्त्वा धर्मनि च आचार्य पितरा पुत्र तथैव च पितामहा मातुला स्वसुरपुत्र शल्य संबंधिनस्तथा एतान् हन्तुमिच्छामि हन्तोऽपि मधुसूदन. Oh, waiting. अपि त्रैलोक्यराजस्य हेतु किं नु मही कृते निहत्य दातराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीति स्वजनार्दन. So, what Arjuna is saying? Anyone wants to read this? Translation.
When teacher, fathers, sons, grandfathers, uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and property and are standing before me. Why should I wish to kill them? Even though they might otherwise kill me. O maintainer of all living entities, I am not to fight with them even in exchange for the three words left alone this earth. What pleasure will be derived from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra?
Yeah. So this is the turning moment, turning point. Arjuna says, what is the use? No, just like as we discussed before, Arjuna is now put into illusion, moha. What is that illusion? Aham mameti. Aham mameti. When a small, ultimately, everyone wants to be happy in this life. So when it's a small baby, what happens? Small baby keeps like to be happy herself by eating or doing things like that. Basically, the baby wants to be happy. Once the baby grows up a little bit, then the baby starts thinking about, oh, I should actually make my mother also happy. I should also make my brother also happy. So when the mother is smiling or saying something, then the baby responds and she says, no. So she knows I need to make them happy. Once grow up a little bit more, then you get married. Then you want to actually make the family wife happy. And also you want to make your friends happy. And also your country happy. All the relatives happy. So this is Swajana Priya, it's called as, So, but as per the Shastra, it says that actually everything is temporary. There is nothing called Swajana or no, relative word. We are all temporary in this material body. So differentiating between me, aham, mameti is cause of all. It's false attachment. So here interesting, Prabhupada writes, Arjuna addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for cows and the senses. So go means cows, go also means senses. So that's why this in Vrindavan or Babaji's and Maharajas, everywhere they're called as Goswamis. Goswami means who is the master of their senses. One time, what happened? Alexander, he was visiting. The pastor was visiting, so he happened to visit one saintly person's ashram. So he sent, and Alexander is interested in all these saints and people. So he sent one of his soldiers, go inside and get that Babaji, whoever is in that hut. झोपड़ी में जो भी है उनको बुला के लाओ, call him. And the soldier went, and then he came back and said, "Oh, Alexander, the Babaji doesn't want to come. He says if you want to meet him, you come, you go personally and meet him." I said, Alexander was furious. Did you tell him who I am? And the emperor of this world and the most powerful, blah, 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 blah. He said, yeah, I told him all that, everything. But still, he says, whoever it is, just tell him to come. So Alexander was furious. He said, I'm going to kill that person, whoever it is. And he takes out his sword. And then he goes. And then he bangs open the door. And then there's Babaji nicely sitting, meditating. And then he puts his sword on the throat of the Babaji. Says, now what do you say? And the Babaji says, welcome, my dear servant. Alexander is furious. What, do you call me servant? He said, yeah, because you have become a servant of your senses, anger. You became a servant of the anger. But I am not the servant of my senses, means even though you are saying so many things, I am not affected. So that's why anger is my servant. And now you are being affected by my servant, so that's why I'm calling you a servant. And that's what he said. So that's why Goswami. That's why these Swamijis, they are called as Maharaj, because they are actually real kings, because they have won over the most formidable enemies: lust, anger, greed, like that 6 enemies. So here, Govinda. Okay. So Krishna, of course, Arjuna is indicating that Krishna should understand what will satisfy Arjuna's senses. So Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses. Proper writes here. If we try to satisfy the sense of Govinda, however, then automatically our senses are satisfied. So normally in the material world, everyone wants to satisfy their senses. For me, my family. But here, Prabhupada is explaining that instead of trying to satisfy your senses, if you satisfy Supreme Lord, then you are automatically satisfied. Because it is said that Mamayavamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are all parts and parcels of that Supreme Lord. So, for example, there is a tree, and tree has got so many leaves, branches, and everything. Now, if you want to water the tree, you don't go putting water on every leaf, every branch, you just water the root. And then the whole tree automatically gets nourished. Similarly, we are because parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. If we satisfy the Supreme Lord, everything gets automatically satisfied. Jagat-tushta, what is that? Jagat-tushtam? Sorry, I can't remember that word. So, if you satisfy the Supreme Lord, the whole world is satisfied. So, okay. Verse 36. So, Arjuna is further explaining. Papameva strayedasman atvaitam atat ata tayin naha tasman narha vayum hantum tartarashtran sabandhuvan swajanam hi katam hatva sukina shama madhusudana. What else is saying? Saying, sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune, Madhava, he calls them? How could we be happy killing our own kinsmen? So Prabhupada explains immediately the purport. As per the scripture, Vedic scriptures, 6 kinds of aggressors can be killed. Who are they? One who gives a poison, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders the riches, one who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps a wife. And Kauravas have already done all this to them. They try to burn them, they try to attack them, they kidnap their wife. So basically, they're all worth of being killed. So, but Arjuna, he is saying that he is ready to forgive. But it is said that Supreme Lord wants all of them to be killed. Now you might wonder why Supreme Lord wants to be killed. Because this is the Bhakta Vatsala nature of a Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is happy to, if someone insults him or tries to do something to him, he doesn't take it seriously. But if someone does anything to his devotees, he will not tolerate. For example, one time there was a discussion. There was a discussion. All the rishis are assembled there, and there was a topic has come up. Who is actually the Supreme Lord? The Supreme Lord is the one who has got control of all his senses, and he is indifferent to anger, lust, greed, everything. So they said, can somebody find out, is it Brahma? Is it Vishnu? Is it Shiva? Who is Supreme? And then Bhrigu Rishi said, okay, wait, I'll go and I'll just find out personally. And then Bhrigu Rishi, the mystic yogi, he goes to Brahma. And then, of course, Bhrigu Rishi is son of Brahma. Brahma is Bhrigu's father. But then Bhrigu goes and says, doesn't give respect to Brahma, and he says some, and then Brahma is already angry. How dare you? Or what's wrong with you? No, like that, he was about to curse him. And then, then Prabhu thought, okay, this he is not able to control his anger, so I think he will not be. And then he goes to Shiva as well, and Shiva also he tries to do something, and she gets angry and he is about to take a Trishul and kill him. And said, no, okay, well, I'll go like that. Finally, he goes to Vaikuntha, Vishnu. And then what does he do there? He will actually not say anything. He will actually directly go and kick Vishnu on the chest. Directly. Kick him. And then Vishnu says, oh my dear, say, Rishi, your feet are so soft that they might have got hurt by touching my chest. Let me massage your feet. And then he's actually massaging your feet. Then Rishi realizes that Lord Vishnu is actually supreme because he got complete. Of course, there's a pastime. Lakshmiji got angry because she's the one who sits on the chest. She got angry and she left Vishnu and she came to Tirupati. And that's how Balaji came all the way to Vaikuntha to looking after Lakshmi Devi. So that's how in Tirupati we have Balaji and Lakshmi Devi. So that is the pastime. But anyway, so this is Lord doesn't actually tolerate anyone doing anything to his devotees. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashyati. He says, my dear Arjuna, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. And why he is saying Arjuna to say it? Because if a devotee of the Lord says, then he will definitely abide by it. There's no going back. Narada cursed Manigriva and Nalakuvera to become trees. Because what were they doing, Nalakuvera and Manigriva? They were actually fully drunk and they don't have even proper clothing. And they are bathing in the celestial waters of Mandakini river. And with all the other apsaras, celestial women. And then when Narada was going that way, they don't even have sense anyway. When people who consume liquor, they don't have sense anything. So they didn't even cover their body properly, the clothes. Whereas all the women, they seeing Narada, they covered. But Manigriva and Nalakuva, they were just like that. So seeing them, Narada got pity and he cursed them to become trees. He says, you become trees because you're not worthy of this higher being's body. And then he also gave them benediction. After being trees for thousands of years, don't worry, Krishna will come and deliver you. So just to fulfill that, Krishna actually, this Damodar pastime, Kartik Mas is coming, so that is the pastime. So that's all. So like that, Krishna. What else? Any questions, points? Similarly, Prabhupada explains Lord Rama. Lord Rama did not say that Ravana, okay, you have taken Sita, okay, you keep her, what should I do not to kill you as an Naipaka. He went and he destroyed Lanka and killed Ravana. So that is the right way of doing things. That's what it says. 37, 38. Yadyapi te na pashyanti labopahata chetasaha kulakshe krutam dosham mitradrohe chapatakam katam nagneyam asmabhi papad asman nivartitim kulakshe krutam dosham prapyasya vir janardana. So Arjuna is continuing. O Janardana, among these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends. Why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in the acts of sin? So here Prabhupada writes, a Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is invited by a rival party. So some people ask, hey, Yudhishthir, why did he gamble? People ask. So this is one thing. Kshatriyas, when someone asks them to gamble, they don't say no. And also, of course, there is one more thing. Just before these things happened, Vyasdev comes and tells Yudhishthir that what is going to happen. All this, there's going to be a fight and all this. So hearing this, Yudhishthir was quite upset. And he says, how to avoid this fight? And he thought, okay, I'll take a vow that anyone who is elder to me says anything, I will not say no. I'll do it like that. So that is one more reason why he actually gambled. Because he was invited by Zarashtra to come and gamble. Okay, verse 39. Kulakshe pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharme naste kulam krishnam adharmo vibhavatyuta. Now Arjuna is explaining all the consequences of fighting. He's saying, with the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Then 40. Adharma vibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulasriya srisho dushto varsneya jayate varna sankaraha. When irreligion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of the womanhood or descendant of Vrishni comes unwanted progeny, Varna Sankara. So Prabhupada here explains that some of the good population, the importance of a good population in the human society, basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. And then he explains the Varnashma system. It's been designed in such a way that good population is. And also there is one more. I can't see which one it is. Maybe next purport. Let's see. Prabhupada also talks about the importance of Garbhodana Samskara. So one has to go through this Garbhodana Samskara to actually get the highly elevated souls into the womb. So 41. Shankaro narakayaiva kulagganam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hi esham lupta pindo dakakriya. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life for both the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance of offering them food and water are entirely stopped. So right now, what is going on? The Adhik Mas is going on. So Adhik Mas, not Shraddha, what's the other name for it? Pitru Paksha is going on. So it is said that during the Pitru Paksha, all the ancestors, they come down to their descendants, family, and see, and they'll be looking what are they going to offer like that. So that's why they said you need to offer Pindadan and all that, the water and all this during this Pitru Paksha. So, and then once in a year, also one is supposed to do that. So, but then if there is no one to do it, then it doesn't happen. Then that means the ancestors, they don't have a good karma, and they are going around in this. They'll be just like that, suffering.
So if you cannot perform start and perform some activities there, religious activities, then you don't need to perform sraddha.
For the rest of the.
For the rest of
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it true? That's what I was talking about.
True. That is as per the Shastras. Actually, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went there and performed the Shraddha for his father as well. So yeah, that is true. That is there. But it is said also, we know from Srimad Bhagavatam, if you are a devotee, then the whole family, 7 generations from up and down, they will be delivered like that. So, but since we are not so great devotees, we do whatever is. So we do everything. So all these things help, chanting and everything. So here there's a interesting Prabhupada writes, forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions. Sometimes they cannot even acquire a gross material body and forced to remain as ghosts. And the prasadam of food are offered to forefathers, then forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. So I told you before. So sometimes they'll say, what about they have not done anything bad? What about if they get another life? They are already in another body. Then what is the point of doing Pindadana and all that? So in Garuda Puran, Lord Vishnu is answering, Garuda is asking same question. That when we do Pindadan, why do we need to do Pindadan? Because if they are ghost form. But suppose if they have already taken birth in another body, what will happen to the Pindadan that we do? And then Vishnu explains that the Pindadan that we do will actually reach them in whatever body they are in. Suppose if they are born as a cow, they'll get a nice grass to eat. Suppose they are in, depending on whatever body, they will actually get their food. So that's why we should never stop. We should continue doing that Pindadan like that. So, and similarly, it is said that when you feed a Vaishnava, it's like feeding Lord Vishnu directly. So that is also one very good thing. That's why when Advaita Acharya performed Shraddha ceremony for his father, and then he gave the first offering to, offering to Vishnu and all that, to Haridas Thakur, and said, please have this. And Haridas Thakur said, why are you giving it to me? I'm not even a Brahmana. I'm not even a Brahmana. I'm a Mohammedan. And then Advaita Acharya says that, no, you are actually Namacharya. Feeding you is equivalent to feeding 10,000 Brahmanas, because Haridas Thakur, we all know that every day he used to chant 192 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. And then he's called as Namacharya because no one can do such a thing. So, like that. Okay. Any questions or comments on this? And then also Prabhupada here says, one who is engaged in the devotional life, not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, has taken the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to demigods, sages, general living entities. So this is for a higher level person, not someone who is a Babaji or Maharaj, like Swamiji. They don't need to do anything, because by the very act that they are doing, their forefathers, they are all getting liberated. So, Doshe rete kulagananam varna sankaraka hai utsadyante jati dharma kula dharmascha shashvataha. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. So Sanatana Dharma or Varnashrama Dharma are designed to enable human being to attain the ultimate salvation. Therefore, breaking of Sanatana Dharma tradition by responsible leaders of society brings about chaos in the society. Consequently, people forget the aim of life, Vishnu. Such leaders called blind, and people who follow such leaders are all shooting leading to chaos. What is that? Blind leading the blind. What happens if a blind person leads another blind person? Both fall into the ditch. So, like that, today's modern society, political leaders, they don't know, but they are actually taking us somewhere. And if we follow them, we will also go into the ditch. So that is. Let's finish this chapter today. And then, so another 3-4 verses. Huh? What's the time? Oh, okay. Let's see. Utsamna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatiti anushruma. What is anushruma? I have heard by the disciplinary succession. So what is again Krishna? Oh Krishna, maintainer of all the people, I have heard by disciplinary succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in the hell. Ahobata mahatpapam kartum yavasita vayam yadrajya sukalobena antum swajanam udyataha. Alas, how strange is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsman. Yadimam apratikaram ashastram shastram panayaha tartarashtrane hanyus tanme shema taram bhavet. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unassisting in the battlefield. So, you know that in tradition, Kshatriya tradition, that if someone doesn't have a weapon, then they will be given a weapon to fight. Like that, all these things. So there are some principles. And then here Arjuna is saying that I'll give up all my weapons, let them kill me. Like that he's saying. The last words, I think this one. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva junasa ke tatopasta upavishat vistrijya sharanam chapam shoka samvignamanashaha. So Arjuna is saying that Sanjay is saying, Arjuna having thus spoken this on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So, yeah. So this is end of first chapter. There's the slides we'll go through, review next week, but we finished chapter 1. So basically this is just like a foundation. And Krishna has actually not spoken anything yet. Krishna is only just looking, listening, doing whatever Arjuna is saying. Next chapter from verse 6 or so, Krishna will start speaking. So we'll see that next week. Any other questions or comments? Army. Okay.
So what about like if I have to start, I would ask for the gambling. Should I accept it or not? Because as an Atman, we have 40 rights to like gambling, right? We should have that. And we are like, for example, I'm a devotee, I'm working for the army, and some rival party I was asked to do the gambling. So what should we do in that case? That is what Because I mean, like, it's leading to the beach,
No, now that you are a devotee, you tell them I won't gamble. Because devotee position is higher than actually a position of a normal kshatriya or no anything. So just tell them I don't gamble. That's all. Simply. That is against my principle. Yeah, Arjuna, the reason why he is doing all this because Bhagavad Gita needs to be spoken. Oh no, Arjuna. No, Arjuna was a devotee. Arjuna was a kshatriya. All that. Now here, because Arjuna was directly told by Krishna to fight. Oh no, for gambling, we have the reason why Arjuna gambled. We have discussed it like Arjuna took a vow that if anyone, any superior to him, Maharaj took a vow that if anyone superior to him instructs something, he will not say no. Because he wanted to avoid all these things, war, everything going to happen as forecasted by Vyasadeva. So we're just trying to avoid all that. But you can't avoid. I mean, it's all decided by Krishna. So yeah, now in Kali Yuga, there's no, everything is mixed. So that's why it is said that Kalo Shudra Sambhava. In Kali Yuga, everyone is born as a Shudra. So that's why we take up devotional service and then take shelter of the spiritual master, take Diksha, then you actually become a Brahmana. Chaturvarnam Maya Shreshtam Gunakarma Vibhagacha. So 4 divisions created based on the guna and karma, nature of a person and activity. So that Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya, but then he wanted to become a Brahmana, and he became. So Valmiki was a hunter, but then with the mercy of who's that? Narada, he became a pure Brahmana, a Rishi. So like that, birth is not generally. It is like they say that no, doctor Kabeta, doctor Ibanta, like that. But because in Kali Yuga everything is getting mixed, and so you cannot predict who's going to be the so that's why best thing is follow devotional service. Gambling money. And Lakshmi Devi, because Lakshmi is already said as she's Chanchala. She doesn't stay at one place. But to make Lakshmi stable, then you have to worship Vishnu. Because if you worship Vishnu, if Vishnu is there, then Lakshmi won't go anywhere. Similarly, the money you need to actually use for service of Vishnu. But if you use it for something else, like gambling, then she'll get angry, she'll go away. Yeah. Mm. No, not in a literal sense, but they say not take a gamble and see what happens and all that, But that's why actually in life we should not gamble in the sense that you don't do anything, any important thing, just like that. You take blessings, you take directions, you take guidance from someone who's senior to you, or your spiritual master, or a guru, or That's why when you go to write a exam or something, India we all done that. Like before exam, we'll go to a temple and give some Lakshmi or something to the pujari. And pujari goes on a paisa dete, they'll say, today I'm writing an exam. The pujari says, okay, and then he'll go inside and he'll tell to the God, okay, he's writing exam. I said, he'll do some prayers and then he'll come out and say, okay, done. And then he'll become okay. So they all have some place, a scientific reason why we do things in such a way. But now everything has become more like a money and all that. So that's why we should be careful to see what is cheating and then what is the actual truth. Because I remember when I was young, one person came and said, I'm going to offer kitna? 100 coconuts to Kali Mata. Please give me 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. I'll offer 100 coconuts and then all your problems will be solved. Like that, something like that he said. Just gave him. Then my neighbor, I went to my neighbor, uncle. Uncle ने पूछा क्या हो गया वो आपके पास आया क्या? India में आते हैं ना, like they go around the houses. And yeah, I gave him 1,000 rupees. 1,000 rupees क्यों दे? पागल हो क्या? Whenever I come, I just give him some food and give him 50 rupees or like that. Because sometimes you need to learn the experience. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Naudivas Prabhu. అయిపోయింది క్లాస్ ఏం చేద్దాం అంటారు? Yeah. Okay, let us do one more chanting. I have brought beads. Every time I'm forgetting, but this time I got. So, children, you can also do